It's been crazy. It's been a crazy week. I haven't slept in like a lot of time.
Especially special just because of all that
It is. I keep looking around going like, remember these moments. Like these are the moments at the end of your life where you're going to look back, wow, how beautiful my life is. And I'm very present and I'm very grateful.
Looking forward to taking a break after this?
Yes, I'm fully retired.
Hey besties, do you remember last week when Blake Lively dropped that bombshell claim that she has proof the Wayfair parties only created their website to smear her? Yeah. According to Blake, the only reason they even filed that lawsuit was as a PR stunt, a setup designed to drag her name through the mud. She says the suit was filed in bad faith and that she's sitting on actual evidence to back it up, because of a Signal chat that had been revealed, one that supposedly proved the website was created in bad faith. Ms. Garrett put all of this information out publicly, carefully redacting the phone numbers and Signal user IDs of those involved. But still, the implications were wild. If someone truly believed they were acting in good faith, why would those messages look the way they did? If the website really was created for retaliatory purposes, the last thing they'd want is for it to be unsealed in court. But that's exactly what happened. And what those Signal chats reveal is telling. Apparently, while the group was amending their lawsuit, they were also quietly building a website. The plan? To host and share the lawsuit publicly, so anyone could read their complaint against Blake Lively. It's eerily similar to what happened when Blake filed her CRD complaint. She handed it to the New York Times, who then published it on their site as if it were a lawsuit, complete with a hyperlink and all. In the newly unsealed Signal chats, attorney Summer Benson wrote, "It matches the filing amended complaint timeline of relevant events. Defer to the group, but I understand it should go live. The website is just PDFs." Attorney Brian Friedman chimed in, noting that Jed Wallace and Rosa were helping set up the website. Then came Jason Sunshine's justification. Because they were only posting filed court records, nothing would be defamatory. It's all cloaked in litigation privilege. That line, cloaked in litigation privilege, echoes the same argument Blake's team used to defend her own filings. Later, Jamie Heath asked if it was okay to post the material publicly, saying, "If legal says we're good to go, you have my approval." Sunshine responded, "These are filed documents. I don't see any risk whatsoever with posting them, but that authority lies above my pay grade." Jamie then confirmed the go-ahead. "We're not monetizing off it. It's simply a landing page to give people access to legal documents that are already public." So with that, let's go live. Their goal, at least on paper, was simple: to create a landing page where the public could easily find court records. But in the midst of those chats, the tone turns strange. Someone even refers to Brian Friedman as the Terminator. Much of the discussion revolved around redacting names, phone numbers, and private details, with Jamie Heath stressing the importance of accuracy and transparency. "I just want to make sure everything we post is accurate and factual." Jamie finally stepped in with a reality check. "Sorry, guys. Everyone's been working hard on this, but now we've got a document out there that isn't accurate. I'm looking at 3 devices right now. It's all inconsistent. This cannot go out as is. If we can't fix it, we're taking it down. There's no chance we're presenting evidence to the world that isn't correct." Turns out, the issue wasn't the content, it was the formatting. The PDF was so massive that it kept glitching, skipping pages and loading blanks, which made it look different from what was actually filed in court. The team was worried about one thing above all else: accuracy. They didn't want anyone accusing them of twisting or misrepresenting legal documents. Then, of course, TMZ got wind of it. The website made headlines, but over time, the tech glitches were resolved, and what was published was confirmed to match the court filings. In the end, it didn't look like some secret smear campaign. If anything, Jamie came across as the one person trying to make sure everything stayed legitimate, factual, and fair. Jamie's focus was clear. The evidence had to match exactly what was filed in court. Nothing altered, nothing misleading. The team wanted to make sure the public saw precisely what had already been submitted to the judge, not some edited version floating around online. By the time the files went live, everything on that website had already been filed in court, and then came the viral moment. Once TMZ picked it up and shared the link, the story exploded. People began downloading the documents, reposting screenshots, and combing through every line like digital detectives. At one point, traffic to the site spiked. More than 11,000 people were on it at once, reading through the filings in real time within minutes. The website exploded, over 11,000 active users in just 30 minutes. And at one point, more than 820,000 downloads of the legal documents. The public wasn't just curious. They were devouring every page, and through all that chaos, Jamie stayed firm on one rule: keep it simple. He didn't want flashy graphics, commentary, or anything that could distract from the facts. "All I want on this site," he wrote, "is the amended complaint and the timeline. Nothing else. Let's leave it as is, folks. It's doing exactly what we need it to do. I'm happy it looks like a document host rather than a performative website with architectural design. Let's just breathe for a bit." Meanwhile, rumors started swirling online about a Reddit community called Belden Files, allegedly connected to Blake Lively's team. According to some insiders, that's where her supporters were trying to push back, countering the narrative that was now spreading across social media like wildfire. Behind the scenes, things were getting even messier. Someone from the team reportedly registered social media accounts to share lawsuit updates and sent those over for review, prompting one person to joke, "Let them think they have a win." Unhinged. Then came the wild part. Who wants to tell her she's not even a party to the lawsuit? No one's exactly sure who's running the Belden Files Reddit page, but messages suggest it might be a hub created by Blake Lively's camp. The irony? Many of the tactics Blake accused Wayfair of using, like pushing narratives and amplifying stories online, were now showing up in her own orbit. Still, the team insisted the buzz around the website was totally organic. In one chat, someone floated the idea of subtly showcasing the live traffic stats on the site. "Can we use those numbers on the side?" Kind of nonchalantly. "Obviously we'll use the real numbers, but it tells its own story," one message read. And they weren't wrong. At one point, there were over 100 live streams running about the case simultaneously. It had become a massive moneymaker for online creators, and as one participant noted, the public sentiment was leaning heavily in Wayfair's favor. Support tells the tale. Well done, family! That message summed up the tone in the group chat. Proud, not plotting. So, while Blake insists this entire operation was part of a coordinated smear campaign, the reality looks a lot more mundane. All they did was post an amended complaint, a legitimate court record, on a public website. They didn't alter it, profit from it, or hide behind fake accounts. They simply made a document that you'd normally have to pay to access available for free. And legally, that's perfectly fine. It's no different from what Blake herself did when she gave her CRD filing to the New York Times, who published it online for anyone to read. So, if this website is the proof Blake claims shows bad faith, that argument starts to fall apart. But there's another layer. Around the same time, Blake also filed a declaration, claiming that Mr. Baldoni had verbally abused people. Her legal team requested that the identity of the person making those allegations remain sealed to protect their privacy. Exhibit 1, which Blake's team marked confidential under the court's protective order, contained highly personal and identifying details about that third party. The request to keep the exhibit sealed is somewhat unusual, as it involves a person who was willing to file an affidavit with the court, but seemingly only under the condition of anonymity. The redacted sections of the declaration reportedly contain information that could reveal the declarant's identity if made public. Naturally, since it's a personal declaration, identifying details would be part of it. The concern appears to be that this individual might face harassment from the press or social media users who have been closely following the case. The court has already acknowledged the intense media attention surrounding this matter. What's particularly ironic is that the filing itself seems to have generated significant media coverage, which makes it hard not to view the situation as at least partially PR-driven. The motion even notes that the declaration has already attracted widespread attention and speculation, including attempts to identify the anonymous declarant, with some calling the filing PR or lies. The argument concludes that revealing the person's identity would only lead to further online harassment and scrutiny in the months leading up to trial, whether or not this individual ultimately testifies. Given those circumstances, they argue, keeping the declarant's identity sealed remains justified. Identity sealed remains justified. Any limited public interest in knowing this person's identity is far outweighed by the need to protect the individual's privacy and well-being. Honestly, I think the judge will likely agree and keep this sealed. But at the same time, if you don't want to be involved in a public case like this, especially one that's gotten so much media attention, maybe it's best not to step into it in the first place. Look, if you think something's going to be sensitive or might draw harassment, then don't file an affidavit in a public court case. Nobody's forcing you to get involved in litigation or to submit documents that will inevitably attract attention. To me, the fact that this person doesn't want their identity revealed says a lot. It suggests they only agreed to sign the declaration on the condition that their name would stay hidden. And that raises a fair question. How credible is something if you're not willing to stand behind it publicly? The judge has already agreed to seal certain elements, like keeping the Signal chat logs private, removing everyone's phone numbers, and even hiding one user's handle. But there hasn't been a decision yet on whether the declaration itself, or the identity of the person behind it, will stay sealed. Meanwhile, in a separate case, Jones v. Lively, Jones v. Baldoni, Tag, basically everyone involved, Stephanie Jones is pushing to have parts of a deposition from Bonacoslo and Katie Cassis unsealed. Apparently, those depositions mention who the website Stephanie Jones Leaks was originally created for. And here's the twist. It's not any of the people directly involved in that lawsuit. It's not Baldoni, not Tag, not Jed Abel. It's allegedly some other high-profile client who wanted the site to be made in the first place. Jones is now asking that this information be removed from the confidential designation. Stephanie Jones is asking the court to lift the attorney's eyes only designation so that her legal team can tell her who this mysterious person actually is, the one allegedly behind creating or commissioning that website, or possibly even influencing the lawsuit itself. The identity has apparently been revealed in deposition, but because it was marked attorney's eyes only, her own lawyers aren't allowed to disclose it to her. Meanwhile, both Wayfair's and Cassis's attorneys are pushing back, insisting that the material stay sealed. They argue that revealing the name could violate confidentiality agreements or expose sensitive information tied to third parties. From Wayfair's point of view, this is just a third party making claims about what a supposed person or potential client might have wanted, not concrete evidence that the website was actually created for that person. And here's the key part. Case herself admitted to writing the copy for the website. She said she was given direction on what to write. But she also testified that everything she included was true and largely based on her own experiences. Case and Kostlow both objected to revealing the person's identity, arguing that this was simply a proposed client, not someone officially involved in the case. They claim that naming this person could spark unnecessary speculation, harassment, and media frenzy towards someone who isn't currently being sued. There's even talk that they might take legal action against this individual later, but nothing has been decided. What's clear, though, is that whoever instructed them to create the website isn't Baldoni, isn't Wayfarer Studios, and isn't Jamie Heath. It's someone entirely different. And given how many high-profile clients are connected to these circles, that detail alone makes things even more intriguing. We're talking about some seriously high-profile names connected to Stephanie Jones, Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, The Rock, Tom Brady. She managed to upset a lot of powerful people, not just Wayfarer Studios. What's clear to me is that yes, Tag may have proposed the idea for this website and planned to make it for someone, but that someone definitely wasn't Baldoni. Think about it. The site went live around May 2024, and at that point, Baldoni wasn't even having issues with Jones yet. The timing just doesn't line up. At that point, Baldoni wasn't even having issues with Stephanie Jones, which makes me think she may have sued the wrong people altogether. I don't know. Tag is openly admitting that they wrote the website copy, but ultimately, Jones would still have to prove that what they wrote was false and defamatory. And as we all know, truth is an absolute defense against defamation claims. Their argument is that unsealing this information would create a kind of trial within a trial, leading to unnecessary speculation, media hysteria, and distraction from the core case. They also claim they don't trust Jones to keep the information confidential, even if it's shared under seal. So, their position is that unless and until she decides to sue this mysterious person directly, the identity should remain hidden. Honestly, I'm not sure what the judge will decide here. I'm honestly not sure how the judge will rule on it. But what really stood out to me was the claim that Justin was somehow behind this website, which, based on everything I've seen, appears to be false. Something that keeps popping up in all these leaked documents is how hands-off Justin actually is with his business. On paper, he's the founder and owner of Wayfarer Studios, while Jamie Heath serves as CEO. It's technically Justin's company. He's even listed as a managing member. But when you look through the Signal chats and internal communications about releasing this document publicly, Justin's name is practically absent. He's rarely the one driving key decisions. Even the choice to hire a crisis management firm wasn't his call. That was Jamie Heath's decision. It's honestly surprising how uninvolved Justin seems to be. Most founders tend to have a very hands-on approach to their businesses, but in this case, it really looks like Jamie is the one steering the ship. While Justin is more of a background figure, he seems to be more of the face of the company than the one actually making the big moves. That's not to say he isn't doing business or putting in work, but based on the communications we've seen so far, Justin just isn't actively involved in much of what's happening behind the scenes, especially in the aftermath of the lawsuit. As for Blake, I'm not convinced this really helps her. It doesn't prove much, at least not from what we've seen so far. They still have to file their responses and objections, and apparently the other side already has attorneys lined up to appeal if it comes to that. So yeah, things are definitely about to get a lot more complicated for Blake. What do you think about this new information? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties. So much for watching. Bye, besties.